Tomorrow will come and girl, I can't wait. It's our anniversary. It's run straight to you. It's our anniversary. It's our anniversary. Hey! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is our anniversary, baby. That's right. Woo! Not LaKenya and my anniversary. That's going to be coming up in about 7 months. And then who knows? Maybe, baby, I'll sing the whole song to you. Listen, man. Listen, welcome to the show. I'm excited. Y'all know I love having fun and I'm kind of crazy. So listen, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Quarantined with Lavell. I am excited. I am happy. I'm overwhelmed because it dawned on me about a week and a half ago that the very first time we did my first major play, Lavell Neal's Issues of Blood, was 5 years ago tomorrow. Wow. So I felt like, hey, let's do a show where I kind of talk about the process, how I got into acting, what made me start the production, the writing process, and all of that. So I was just going to kind of talk, but thank God for my wife having me write down some type of order, right? Otherwise, I would have just been kind of rambling on and on today. So look, I'm excited about the play. So I do want to definitely give a shout out to my wife, LaKenya, who is also the executive producer on the show. So she helps me out tremendously. So thank you, baby. I, of course, have to give a shout out to my son, who is 6 weeks old today. Can you believe it? 6 weeks old today. Of course, he was born on August 20th, which was a Thursday. So we were in the hospital, and my wife encouraged me. He was born early that morning at 9:41 a.m. And so I wasn't going to do quarantine with Lavell episode that evening, but my wife said, hey, we're fine. The baby got milk wasted and was asleep, and she was chilling, and we were in the hospital room just sitting there. So she was like, hey, go ahead and do the do the show. So we did it from there. And unbelievably, that was 6 weeks ago. This is our 21st episode. We started back in May. This is our 21st. Did I say 25th? 21st. 21st episode. 21 episodes in already. And it just so happened to fall on the anniversary of doing my first play, Issues of Blood. So again, shout out to my wife and my son. Of course, shout out to my mom, to my mother-in-law, Mama Betty. Of course, to my uncle and aunt who faithfully watch the show, and they tell others about it and have them to tune in to watch the show. So I appreciate them, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Those of you who are watching on Facebook, or those of you who are watching on YouTube, or maybe even those of you who are watching this much, much later, because they are on Facebook and they're on YouTube. So you may not watch it on the actual anniversary, maybe months from now, but I still appreciate you for tuning in to the show. All right, so yes, 5 years. Wow, 5-year anniversary. Let me show you all the flyer for the play. And this was the flyer that was designed by my boy Renaco Marshall, who was a part of the comedy group that I'm in. He designed the flyer for me. I told him what I wanted. And as you can see, Neal Down Productions and Trinity Deliverance Church. So I definitely want to give a shout out to my church, Trinity Deliverance, who produced it the first 2 times we did it. And my pastor, Apostle Diane Washington, and my mom were executive producers on the show. They helped out tremendously. And as you can see, Lavell Neal's Issues of Blood, Northwest Activity Center. We did 4 shows Friday, October the 2nd, 2015 at 8 p.m. We did 2 shows on Saturday, October the 3rd at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then we did a Sunday evening show at 7 o'clock p.m. So we were very worn out afterwards, but it turned out wonderfully. And I cannot thank God enough for what he did through that production. Of course, the cast was phenomenal. This was the back of the flyer. I put a few names on there. My best friend, Steve White, part of the Doctors of Comedy, of course, gospel recording artist Gerard Brooks, comedian Double J, and so many more. But as you can see, I'll just kind of go through. So in the top left corner, you see Steve White. He played Cousin Derek, kind of the bad guy of the play. Gerard Brooks played Pastor Cartwright, Pastor Anthony Cartwright. Shantae Roberts played Aunt Sissy. Shantez Prince played Uncle Albert. Ramon Clora played Little Ricky. Dr. Dolores Harris played the main character of Stella. Siobhan Wilson played Dominique. Angela Jackson, who was a member of my church, very, very funny lady. We do skits and stuff at the church all the time, and she was there with us, and she played Shonda. Shonda, who was the girlfriend of this next gentleman, Henri Franklin, who was a prolific actor. He's been in movies, on television, and whatnot. He was literally amazing. He brought to life the role of Uncle Rufus. Next up is my brother, my late brother, Nate Porter, who passed away about 2 years ago, and I'm so glad that he got a chance to do the play with us. He had a small role in the play, but the character that he plays shows up in 2 more of my plays, and I was really looking forward to having him to come in and play that role. But unfortunately, he went home to be with the Lord. But I do thank God for the opportunity of working with him. He had a small role, but he brought that role to life and put his all into it. And then last but certainly not least, comedian Double J, my friend of over 20 years, brought and it is funny because Double J is a comedian, but the Uncle Rufus character is the comic relief in the play. Actually, there are several, but like the main comic relief is Uncle Rufus. And Double J was actually mad at me. He wanted to play Uncle Rufus, but as a director, my vision, I saw that he would have been perfect in the role of Big Ricky, and sure enough, he slayed it. So again, that was the cast. Some of the early, let me show you one of the pictures of the early artwork. My buddy Joshua Dixon is a graphic designer, and he made this. We didn't really use this too much, but we did actually squeeze it in, as you can see on the flyer. See, right after issues, you can see the heart there. We just inverted the color scheme a little bit there, but I did want to show a heart of stone that was breaking out and, as the scriptures say, turning into a heart of flesh. So that was some of our early artwork there. And then finally, this was our banner, so to speak, of Issues of Blood, the gospel musical. And as you can see, the heart is there. So we were able to, squeeze that heart in, because that was one thing that I definitely wanted to make sure that people got a chance to see. So I have a little format here, so you'll catch me looking at my notes so I don't start rambling and going on and on. And don't forget, please hang on. We're not going to be too long, but please hold on, because at the end I have about 5 or 6 clips from the play that I am going to show. All right, so you got to see those clips. Some of them are serious, some of them are funny, but the play was was literally a roller coaster ride. Anyway, so yeah. So how did I get into acting? Let's start there. Let's go all the way back to a long, long time ago. All right. So when I was in high school, I was in the band. I was a part of the band, right? And as I was in the band, I played the trumpet. Uh, Charles Mitchell is a prolific trumpet player, so Charles, don't go off on me if you're watching, because I am, I'm not good. I don't know how to play now, but I was pretty good back then. But I've forgotten everything now. I don't know how to play now. But I was in the band playing the trumpet, and in the 10th grade, my 10th grade year, the production back then, we still had the arts in school, right? So we were doing like full productions of plays. They weren't like rinky dink, like they were like full productions of plays, had full crews and everything. And I thank God for that, because that's what helped get me into doing plays. Right now, I see a question here. I'm going to put it up. I'm not sure who this is. It just says Facebook user, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I got my other computer open, so I'm looking over there. Sean P. Williams, who is a playwright himself and director and producer himself. So he's asking, who inspired me to do plays. So, which leads right on into what I was about to say, which was it was high school. I was in the band, and the band we would play behind the play. So they didn't have instrumental tracks. They didn't have the band actually played full on with like a real production, and this was just high school. But they were doing a play called Raisin in the Sun. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that famous play, right? But they were doing Raisin in the Sun, and I was playing in the band. But the tricky thing was, I was so engulfed by the actors that I kept getting in trouble with my band teacher, because I was supposed to be out there learning the music, but I was always in the back watching the actors rehearse. So I was sitting there just kind of watching them rehearse or whatnot, and it blew me away. It was like literally amazing to me, like the acting process. And I said, I want to do this. It was too late. They already had the play cast. We were playing, so I ended up playing. But the next year, because we would do a play every year, the next year, my 11th grade year, we were doing a play by the late Ozzie Davis called Pearly Victorious. Now, I went to Southeastern High School. I think we had one or two white kids in our school. If that, I remember one specifically, may have been two white kids in the school. But I was so high yellow, because neither one of them wanted to act. I was so high yellow that I ended up auditioning, and I got cast for the role of the son of the white plantation owner. My name was Charlie Cotcherpee. I actually had to sing and play the guitar, and I was nowhere near on key. I still don't know how to play the guitar. But I remember, singing. I'm trying to think of one of the songs now, and I had like a southern accent. I was acting my little butt off. I was just amazed, right? The kaleidoscope of my emotions trace the still uncharted oceans of a deep depression that I can't forget. Lo, the days and hours wasted, longing for what can't be tasted. The tender unborn love that doesn't live. And then my father comes out, pulls the chair from under me, and I fall to the floor. Audience cracks up. I was so new to acting. I actually just thought about this, but our opening night, I had my mic. It was wrapped around the guitar strap. So when I fell and I was trying to get up, I couldn't get the guitar off my neck because the mic cord there, So I learned a lot during that. That was a phenomenal experience. And actually, the star of that play, I didn't realize this later, the star of that play was someone I went to high school with, Mark Holloway. So you all may know him on Facebook as Pastor Mark Holloway, but he played the lead character Pearly in that play. I don't even know. I'm sure he remembers that because he, like I said, he was the lead character. I knew then that he was going to be a preacher. I was like, he's doing more than acting. That brother there is saved and he's a preacher. And sure enough, he's a pastor now. So shout out to my high school buddy Mark Holloway, Pastor Mark Holloway, who played the lead character in Pearly, right? So phenomenal experience. They painted me white. They didn't have to put too much paint on, and they had to paint a black eye on, and it was just this phenomenal experience. So my next year, my senior year, I got cast as Ebenezer Scrooge without audition. They loved my performance so much in Pearly that they cast me without audition in the role of Ebenezer Scrooge. And that was just like the bomb to have the lead play, the lead character in a play, a major play like Christmas Carol. Everybody from my church came, all my friends came. I was elated. It was amazing. One thing I do remember that happened though in that play that was kind of funny was there's a scene where I get into the bed to go to sleep before the first spirit comes to visit. And I remember this was a play that we were doing for Foch Middle School, which was right next door. So we were doing this for the middle school kids, and they all came over to see the play. And I remember I got into the bed, and the bed literally collapsed. It was one of those big beds with the big pillars and the sheet. I don't know what they're called or whatnot. I remember getting into that bed, and it literally caved in on me. One of the things hit my leg, and I remember laying there, and I could hear the kids crying, crying like they were howling, laughing. And I remember laying there. They closed the curtain real quick or whatever, and I'm laying there like, is my leg broke? Because it landed on my leg, and I was like, yikes, I hope my leg's not broken. I started moving it, and they came and took everything off, reset everything up. When they opened the curtain, the kids were still like, this was maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, the kids were still cracking up laughing. Like they were just falling apart laughing, right? Hallelujah. So it was a very interesting experience, but playing that role like really blessed me a lot. And all right, I'm sorry. So the app that I use doesn't give me all of the sayings here or comments. So I'm looking over here. Thank you, Mama Betty. Thank you, Minister Tatum. We appreciate you. Thank God for it. I'm trying to keep up with two here. I want to see who's commenting. I don't want to miss anybody. If you do comment on the Neal Down Productions page, then I'll be able to see it. Unfortunately, sometimes I see some of the YouTube comments, sometimes I don't. So, moving on, I graduated from high school, and when I say I thought I was Robert De Niro, my head blew up beyond size, right? It was ridiculous. I just thought I was like the best actor in the world because I did a couple of high school plays, right? So what I did was I started pursuing acting. I started trying to find out about auditions, and most, back then, at the risk of, telling my age, there was no internet back then in the early 90s, right? So I actually had to go out and work to find auditions. I would go to plays, get information from the producers and the directors, and I would, follow up with them and see when they had things coming up. And so I started kind of doing, plays around the city of Detroit, and I was feeling good about it. It was really, really a lot of fun, just the whole acting experience. But then something happened my mother was a huge fan of Perilous Times, TJ Hemphill's Perilous Times, right? She saw that play so many times, I think pretty much every year, right? She actually saw it when it was at the church before they actually went into the large theaters and started doing it. And she loved it and she loved it ever since, still to this day, right? So I remember she took us to see it once, and I remember I looked on the back and it said, if you would like to be a part of this production, send an audition tape to this particular address. So I made a video. It was rough. I didn't have editing equipment or whatnot, so it was like a very rough audition tape, and I mailed it in. But at that time, TJ Hemphill's production company was based, I think, in Tennessee or something like that. So I mailed it off, and I don't know, 2 months later, it came back and said no longer at this address. So I was like, oh man, I was just like hurt. Like, how am I gonna get information on doing this play? Because I didn't know it was based at that time. I didn't know that it was based here in Detroit. Anyway, I thought it was in Tennessee, so I didn't know how to find him or whatnot. So now it's 1999, and my friend Geneva Hicks, went to our church, and she told me, she's like, Lavell, you should audition for Perilous Times. I was like, what, Perilous Times? What, how'd you find out? And she was like, I don't remember what she said, but she's like, here's the information. I heard it on the radio. I think it was on the gospel station. So she handed me the paper, and I was like, oh, bet, I got to find out about this. So I called the radio station. They gave me the information, and I went and auditioned for Perilous Times, right? This changed my life. You seriously, this was in 1999. I auditioned for Perilous Times, and I got in. I was just so happy to be in the play. Now, if anybody, a lot of people out there have been a part of Perilous Times at least once or twice. This was my first time. Huge cast. So kudos to TJ Hemphill directing that many people. My first play, there were 11 people in the play, and it was rough. Trying to direct 11 people, including and then on top of that, stage hands and lighting people and sound people and production people, and it was a lot going on, right? So shout out to TJ for directing, because there are at least 50 people in that cast, But I was happy to be in that number. I was just so happy to be a part. So I was telling my wife last night, I played 7 different characters that year in the play. Because what we do for the illusion to look like there are hundreds of people in the play is, we all switch up, play different roles. So if I'm in the street scene, in this scene, and I got on my streetwear, and then the next scene is a biblical scene, I got to run back, throw on my biblical garb, come out as a street person in the biblical scene, and then I may have been in the king's court, and then I have to go put something else on for that. But I played 7 different characters in that play that year, and it was exhausting, because back then TJ used to do 8 shows: Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, 2 shows on Saturday, and 2 shows on Sunday. So it was a lot of work, right? But it was so much fun, and I learned so much, because I would watch TJ directing the people, right? And I was like, oh man, one day I may want to direct. So I was watching him, watching his process, or whatnot. The next year, he did a play called All Men Can't Be Dogs, and he asked me to be a part of that. And I had a very small role in that, but I had a scene with William Murphy, very brief scene, maybe 4 minutes, if that, and then I was done. I was at the beginning of the play, and then I would sneak out into the audience and watch the play from the audience. But it just was an amazing experience. So the next year 2000, I went back and did the play again. And I think TJ started noticing me, because each year that I did the play, he would give me more and more responsibility. So actually, I have been a part of Perilous Times every single year that he's done it from the year 1999. Wow. So I'm like a 21-year veteran now. All right. I remember I used to look up to the vets like William Murphy and Jeff Mickens and Paul Burt and the late L.J. Colville. I would look up to them a lot, and they actually took me under their wing, and they poured into me, and they saw that I was faithful, that I kept coming back each year, because usually when people do Perilous Times, they may do it the first year, maybe the second year, but after that they move on and go start doing other things. But I was determined to be a part of that production, and I'm so glad that I was, and so honored that I was a part of that. So that really helped me out a lot. Watching the different acting styles, watching TJ directing, it just was a phenomenal experience that led to other experiences. Through that production, I met Pastor Derek Brinkley and his wife, producer Celeste Brinkley, and I was able to do their play and to travel with their play. I traveled with Perilous Times. I traveled with the Brinkley, two of the Brinkley plays. That was how I got cool with Tasha Page Lockhart. It was funny because the young lady who played my wife, the first couple of times we did the play, couldn't do it this particular time, and Tasha Page Lockhart was they brought her in to do the play, and she was brand new. It was funny because I heard her sing, and I was like, ooh. So I was scared to sing with her, and she was scared to act with me. It was so funny, but we complimented one another. We got through it. It was just an amazing, phenomenal experience being on the road, doing these plays, and it just was. It really, really blessed me. Actually, through Perilous Times, I got a chance to meet Eric L. Walker and John C. Jones from J.C. Jones Boot Camp. I met them during Perilous Times, right? And Eric, it was during Perilous. I'll tell you this quick story, and then I'll move on. We were filming Perilous Times, the movie. It was really, really late at night. Everybody was kind of tired and ready to go, but we still had a lot more to do. And we were at the Northwest Activity Center filming in the theater, and I was leaving out, and Eric Walker stopped me. He's like, "Hey, Lavell." And I was like, "What's up, brother?" And he's like, "Man, I'm thinking about putting together a Christian improv group, and I want to ask you to be a part." So I told him, I said, "You know what? Let me pray about it." And I'm going to be honest. I had absolutely no intentions about praying about it. The answer in my mind was already no. Now, I had done, a lot of plays, drama, and did a little comedy or whatnot, but improv? No, sir. I did not want to do improv. That was way too scary. Give me a script and I'll go. But improv, no script? I got to trust somebody else? Nah, I'm good. But I told him I would pray about it. And I went home and I said, you know what? I don't want to be a liar. So I actually did pray about it. And the Lord gave me this calmness in my spirit. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try it out. It can't hurt to try it out. So I'm going to go ahead and try it out. It was very scary. But I remember when I got there, Eric, of course, was there. Me and him were already friends. Me and John were already friends. This was way before Steve became a part of it, right? But it was there where I met Terrence and Reneko and Kim and Robbie. That was the nucleus there. And everybody was so amazing at what they did, but they were also, what's the word? They were caring. And, when you do improv, you have to be able to trust the other people. And they made me feel so welcome, so trusting of them that it just was like, I can't even describe. That was a phenomenon. That was in 2004. And we went until 2010. Travel, we traveled. We did a lot of shows all around the Metro Detroit area. I got a chance to go with Eric and John to Canada, where Eric did some stand up there, and I was assisting him with that. It just was an awesome experience. So I made some friendships there that will never be broken, and I thank God for Eric Walker. I'm actually going to be having the Doctors of Comedy on the show one day. So we talked about it, and we're going to try to get together to get them on the show. I met Felicia Brown and Darcel Brown. They wrote a play called Satan We Declare War. I was the lead character in that. Got a chance to travel and do that play. And one of the best experiences about that was I got a chance. They flew me. This was in 2005. They flew me down to Florida for a whole month. They put me in a hotel room a whole month, and I got a chance to hang out with the late Tommy Ford. Like, it was amazing to me. Like, I couldn't even believe I was hanging out with Tommy Ford. Like, he would call my phone, hey, Lavell, you want to roll to the mall with me? Yeah, and it was really amazing to get a chance to hang out with him. I even got a chance to talk to him and minister to him a little bit. So that was an amazing experience that I will never forget. I've made some amazing friendships down through the years, and I truly thank God for that experience of doing Perilous Times. Actually, it was funny because I met Tommy doing Perilous Times. He was in Perilous Times. Now, when we did the other play in 2005, I don't think he remembered me because it had been 6 years later. I don't think he remembered me from Perilous Times, but he played it off pretty good, right? So I just made some awesome friendships, and then from there I went to college. Now, going to college for me was something that there's a scripture that says occupy till he comes, right? So I didn't want to just be sitting around doing nothing. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna get my degree in acting, but I'm still gonna keep my eye out for whatever the Lord is doing or whatever he wants to do. But me going to Wayne State University's theater department was another life-changing experience. It really was, because I got a chance to see several styles of plays, right? And I don't mean this any bad way, so please don't take this way. But all the plays I had done up until that point were Black gospel plays, which were phenomenal. They blessed me beyond. I got a chance to make some money, to do a lot of traveling, to meet and make a lot of connections. But when I went to Wayne State, I got a chance to see what their plays were like, what some other type of plays, Broadway, because we would do Broadway and off Broadway plays, and it was there that I got a chance to get a different view. So I was able to take what I learned from doing these plays, what I learned from doing these plays, mesh them together to be able to create and make my own style of play. And that's one thing I truly thank God Wayne State helped me tremendously to see a different side, And I do recommend going to school, if you have that opportunity, it'll help a lot. But you don't have to. That was just something that I felt compelled to do, was to go to school just to get my degree or whatnot. And I'm glad that I did, not because of the degree, but because I got a chance to see a different style. And I was able to take the two styles that I knew and mesh them together. And now Lavell has his own style because of that. All right. Woo! So, let me say this real quick. Normally, I'm interviewing somebody, so I have other people, and then I can click the button and go out, and I can drink some water. So I'm thirsty. All right, so I'm gonna drink some water. So please excuse me. You at home drinking water? Why can't I have a sip of water to quench my palate? Right. All right. So now I want to talk a little bit about the writing process for Issues of Blood and Hostage. Right. So Issues of Blood was my first major play. Now, I had been kind of preparing for this over the course of the years. I wanted to make sure that, I know my church, I would write skits, and we would perform the skits or whatnot. And we would do a play. We would do like a little skit, maybe a 45-minute or hour-long skit every New Year's Eve service, right? So there was one play in particular that I wrote in 2006. It was a skit rather that I wrote in 2006, and it was about a young man whose father got sick, and they were praying for his father to be healed, and the father ended up dying, and just kind of the aftermath of that. And I wanted to write that play because earlier that year in 2006, my grandmother passed away. That hurt beyond words. And at that time, she was literally the closest person to me that I experienced dying. I heard of people, or maybe friends or whatnot, even close friends, but that was the first time that someone that close passed away. So it affected me, and it hurt because we were praying. We were praying for her to get healed, and she didn't. And it was like, wow. So it bothered me a little bit. And as I kept going throughout the rest of that 2006, That's what inspired me to write that skit, which I am actually going to be adding that and turning that into a full major play one day. I still have the script on my old laptop. Dust that off and hope the hard drive ain't died. But yeah, but I wanted to deal with that issue of what happens, because it does happen. We have loved ones, and you may pray for them, and God doesn't heal them. Right? Does that mean that we leave God? Does that mean that we backslide and that we just forsake God because He didn't do what we wanted Him to do? Absolutely not. So I kind of wanted to deal with that in the aftermath of that, and that was very therapeutic for me. So I noticed that when I write, I wrote about issue. I wanted to write about issues that would affect the audience. I didn't want to just be throwing slapstick together or throwing something together just to be doing. I wanted to deal with issues that I was familiar with. So, Issues of Blood is about a family that has been kind of separated and jolted and hurt by some events that happened. The mother, the matriarch of the family, her son, who she had at the age of 15, and then he had a son when he was 15. So now you have a 30-year-old grandmother, a 15-year-old daddy, and a newborn, right? Her son ends up going to jail, to prison for 10 years. So what the play revolves around, the first half of the play is them getting ready for this release party when he comes home, and they're wondering, what is he like now? Has he changed? Has he gotten worse? What happened? We don't know, because no one has talked to him in over 8 years, right? His son is starting to head down the same negative, terrible path that he went on. So basically, that's what the play about. In the second half, he comes home, and we kind of deal with the issues with him and his son, and what happened to him, and how much did he change or whatnot. So I wanted to do that because I grew up in a broken home. My mother was a single parent. My father left when I was 6 months old, never got a chance to meet him. So what happens when a father is not in the family? God created an order for family. He created it for it to be a father, a mother, and the children, right? That was the way God created it. So if He created it that way, then that's the way it should be. But it doesn't always happen like that. What happens? How do you get back to doing things the right way? So that's what inspired me to write Issues of Blood. And as I was writing it, now I don't know about anybody else's writing style, but me writing, I'm gonna just be honest. I'm gonna be totally transparent with you all. Writing does not come easy to me. It just doesn't. Like, it's not an easy thing. Like, I look at Tyler Perry and I envy him sometimes. Like, this man can write in his sleep. He's writing like most of the episodes of his TV shows, and he has like 10 TV shows on it. He's writing most of them, writing plays, writing movies. So writing comes easy. Like, he can write in his sleep. Me, it's like I have to really, really stay focused. It took me about 3 years, to write Issues of Blood. Now, I will admit, I can be a bit of a procrastinator, So my mother helps me out with that. My pastor helps me out with that, and most of all, my wife helps me out with that. When she sees me kind of getting lax in something, she'll make sure that she kind of very gently pushes me back on track. So if you're a procrastinator, you need somebody that's going to be there to help you and to push you. Now, me, I don't take well to threats. I don't take well to pushing in a harsh way. And God blessed me with a phenomenal wife that doesn't do that, right? Because it would irritate me if she did, and then I would clam up and I wouldn't do it. So God knew that. So God brought her into my life. So she gently pushes me. That perfect amount of pushing and wisdom on top of that, and it helps me out so much. But yes, it took, like I said, it took me 3 years to write it. But when I write, so I'm kind of, as I'm writing, I'm hearing the characters talk. And I'll be honest, sometimes I'm writing something and I'll bust out laughing at one of the characters because I can see the character doing it or saying it a certain way or whatnot. So it was just really an amazing thing there to write this play and to hear these characters talking to me. Now, I don't take that. I don't mean any metaphysical kind of like spirits appearing and there. I can hear the voices of them talk. That's not what I'm talking about. But as I'm writing, I can hear in my head the characters saying things the way that they would say them, right? So that was a true blessing for me, like getting a chance to see it, laughing at the play, and then to bring the play to life and see the audience laughing in those same spots. It was amazing. The audience even laughed in some spots. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that was funny, but they laughed, and it was, oh wow, so that process was pretty good. Looks like we have another question here. My mom says, at what age did you seriously know that you wanted to be an actor and a writer? Well, so when I started dabbling in high school was when I kind of knew I wanted to be an actor. I remember I saw the movie. There was a movie that I saw, which is why Robert De Niro is my favorite actor to this day. But there was a movie he did called Awakenings, where he played this guy who got this disease, and he kind of, went into this comatose state, and Robin Williams was a doctor and gave him something, and it brought him out of it. And just to see him, because toward the end of the movie, he was going back into that state, but he was fighting it, and it was just a lot going on. And I was watching his acting, and I think that movie came out in 1990. And I was just sitting there like, he brought that character to life. I said, I want to do that. And it was then when I got into the plays at school. So I would say, age-wise, I was probably 15, late 15, early 16 years old when I found out that I wanted to be an actor. I did not want to be a writer, though. Writing wasn't really something that interested me until later, once I started realizing, oh, I can create my own plays. I can create my own movies. I can create my own if I write it. So I'm not sure what age it was when I wanted to get into writing, but when I wrote Issues of Blood, that really, really encouraged me a lot to want to start writing. So it was years later when I got into writing, and even in college, they teach you strategy on how to write and how to bring characters to life. So that helped out a lot too. But I was about 15, 16 years old when I seriously said, I want to get into acting. And to be honest, I did. I got into it, and I consider it a success, right? And somebody may say, well, you're not in any major movies or, all of this, but what is success, right? My success was I was doing plays. I was acting in plays. I was getting paid to do plays. I was getting paid to travel and getting taken care of. And, so I felt like it was a success. Me becoming an actor was a success. So I thank God. I truly, truly thank God for that. So bringing the play to life was another amazing thing for me. Writing it is one thing. Finish the script, you feel this sense of pride. And I actually announced, I had some of you all may remember this, but my 40th birthday party in 2015 was at the Marriott at the Renaissance Center, and I had a party. I had a big party there in 2015, and it was, I'm sorry, 2014. It was there that I announced, it was at the party that I announced that I had finally finished writing Issues of Blood. People in my church and my close friends knew I was writing it for 3 years. So when I announced that I finished writing it, it was like the room erupted. Everybody was so happy. And then to bring it to life less than a year later, right? Again, as I showed you, we did the play October the 2nd. That was our opening night, October the 2nd, 2015. So a little less than a year later, to bring that play to life was amazing. The actors, watching them bring the characters to life, and as going through the directing process, it just was an amazing, amazing thing to see. It really was. Just watching, this play that I wrote come to life. Like, it literally brought tears to my eyes. It was really amazing. So directing. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about directing and bringing this play to life. So I worked with a lot of directors over the years, since I was 16 up until now, going on 30 years, I've worked with a lot of different directors, and they all have unique styles. They all have unique ways that they direct. And so I had to find my style, right? So I wrote a little note here. How I direct, letting actors bring the characters to life, right? All right. So I think it helped me as a director to have been an actor first. Now, you don't have to be. Every director is not an actor. Matter of fact, a lot of directors are not actors, right? But it helped me as a director being an actor because I knew where they were coming from. I know actors like to express themselves. Actors like to try things. So me as a director, what I do is I allow matter of fact, I'll give you all my speech. Whenever I direct a play, this is what I do. When we do the read or whatnot at the table, the table read, I'll sit everybody down and I'll tell them this. Look, I'm the type of director that's going to let you try things. I don't mind. That's what the rehearsal process is for. Try things, add things, take things away or whatever. We're going to do all of that. I don't have a problem with that at all. But I just want everyone to realize that in the end, this is my baby. And in the end, the final decision is mine. And I've never had an actor ever to disrespect that. They all understood. Sometimes I'll direct something and they'll try something and they really, really like it. And I'll say, I don't think it fits with my vision and what I'm trying to portray. And we remove it. And they do it every time. So that's my little speech before. Try things out, fine. But in the end, the final decision is mine. And I'm going to be respectful about it. I'm not going to say that was the worst idea anybody's ever brought to me, right? Never that. But I listen to the ideas and maybe we can use it in another play. But it just doesn't quite fit with this play, right? And it helped because actually when I was at Wayne State, the professor over the directing courses actually brought me in as his assistant. So I actually taught directing on the college level at a university. So learning all of that from him and watching him to, how he directs and how he did things really helped me out a lot and really helped influence me as a director and to give me those little nudges or whatnot that I needed to become a director. Oh, wow. All right. My wife just texted me because I think, so she's doing a watch party. I don't see any of the comments, unfortunately, from her watch parties. I'm sorry. But she just sent me a message that said, Mama Betty asked, at what age did you start singing? Wow. All right. All right. So I have really never considered myself a singer. I know. I'm just being honest. Like, I never did. But I'll tell y'all a quick story. I got saved when I was 16 years old at Trinity Deliverance Church, and the late Apostle V.B. Washington, we would have Friday night, all night prayers a lot, and we would stay, and me and the other young men, Jamal and Tillman and Derry and Rucker and Mark and Troy, and it was just David, and we would all stay at the all-night prayers, and then on Saturday morning we would get up at 6 a.m. and Apostle would pray and do a teaching for an hour, and then we would go back to sleep at 7 at the church and sleep probably till about 10. Then we would all get up and we would clean up the church and we would just sit around the church laughing, talking, joking, just having a good time. And I remember we would always have the little radio and we would be playing Commission. Commission was our group, right? That was our group. I think Pastor Ron Daniels turned us on to Commission, right? And we were jamming to Commission. We would be in the back singing or whatnot. And minister at that time, Minister Donald Coleman, who was now Apostle Donald Coleman, and Judge Donald Coleman, he would be at the church sometimes. He would walk by hearing us sing, and he was like, hey, fellas, y'all sound good. Y'all need to do something with that. So we joined the choir at the church and we started singing. So it was around 17 years old, 16, 17 years old. We were just at the church singing, and Apostle Donald Coleman encouraged us to do something instead of just sitting around the church singing in the back on a Saturday afternoon. So we joined the choir, and that was how I started singing. And I got a couple of leads, Minister Eric Washington and Minister Lewis Ratliff were the choir directors, and they would give us leads sometimes, and sometimes it went well, sometimes it didn't, right? So it wasn't all, I just started singing and that was that. It wasn't like that. We had some trial and error during the singing things. But I will say, and I'm glad Mama Betty asked that question, because that helps me out as a director dealing with singers as well, knowing that process. Because if you're not a singer, sometimes you look at singers, and for some singers, singing just comes so naturally to them, like they can just sing the phone book, but some it doesn't, and so there's some mess ups sometimes. And if I didn't know that going into a rehearsal process, listen to these singers trying to sing a song that they just got a week ago, and them messing up would have made me more nervous, but it didn't, and it actually helped me. So as a director, working with actors and working with singers was something that truly helped me out tremendously. Right? All right. So now talk a little bit about the producing part of it. I'll be honest, it was tough. It was tough being the director and the producer of Issues of Blood, because it was a lot of responsibility. Remember, I was used to just being an actor, right? As an actor, you have no cares, right? You just come in, learn your lines, do your part, get paid, and go home. But now I'm in a position where I'm not acting, but I'm in charge of everybody. As director, I'm in charge of all of the actors and the lighting people, and as a producer, all of the production staff, those who go out and pass out the flyers, and all of that was just, it was almost overwhelming, but I was ready for it. I don't know how to describe it. It was a lot, but I knew what God called me to do. So it was actually a joy. It was like amazing to do this. Like it was fun. It was a lot of work and it was fun. But now, instead of being an actor where I'm just doing my part and get paid and go home, now I'm the one that's in charge of paying people. And it's like, I remember, I'll tell you this quick story. The ticket sales for Issues of Blood did not take off when we opened up ticket sales in, I think it was like early August. Hardly any tickets. All right. We were doing promotions. We paid a lot of money to be on 102.7 FM at the time, the gospel station. A lot of money. All right. Calls were not coming in. September, no calls coming in, right? Now it's getting late September, and we still hadn't hardly sold any tickets, and I was getting nervous. I was getting like petrified. But I remember the week of the play. I think it was maybe that Wednesday. The play opened on Friday. That Wednesday, all of a sudden, an inflow of calls start coming. And I had my personal phone number on the flyer. So they started playing more ads, and Randy Miles, the radio host, Miss Randy Miles, interviewed me. And right after that interview, my phone blew up. And I was like, whoo, thank you, Lord. Because that, yeah, woo. I had always heard the testimony about Tyler Perry and how he got, he had spent all his money, did everything he could, and he did this play and nobody showed up and it bombed tremendously. But it was right after that a producer came and ended up picking him up. I did not want that testimony. I didn't. I was like, ooh, we spent a lot of money during this play, and I need to, the church produced it. I want to make sure that the church gets their money back, and I want to be able to pay everybody. It just was it was a very scary time. I told my wife that last night, and she was like, so you didn't have faith? All right. I told her, right, remember that now. Remember that. She's like, no, I'm just saying, what, you didn't believe God was gonna come through? And then she started preaching. And I said, you know what? You're right. Because a lot of times we'll say, oh, I trust God. Like Daniel in the lion's den, the Hebrew boys in the fiery furnace, get again, getting off the island. But yeah, so no, I didn't. And, you know, we say we have this faith, and I did. My faith wavered. I was nervous. I was yikes. I was scared, you know. But all right, we got somebody that said, I'm not sure what this just says, Facebook user, Detroit is a last minute town on getting tickets. Yes, you are absolutely right. Detroit is a last minute town on getting tickets. Now we do have some states or some cities rather, they will definitely buy their tickets up early, right? Um, but Detroit's not like that. It's just not. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but that's the truth. You know, so if you're a playwright in Detroit, don't get discouraged. Don't get scared if your ticket sales don't take off a month before. Just that week of. You know how we come on now. Y'all know how we do. I'm waiting to the check right before the play opens, and then I'll get my tickets. You know. So so that was my experience with writing, directing, and producing. And finally, I just want to talk a little bit about the future of Neal Down Productions. Then I got some clips I want to show you all from Issues of Blood. Now, let me pre-warn you, and I'll say this again a little later. We did not have the play professionally recorded, right? And this is one of the things I want to talk about that I have written down under the future of Neal Down Productions. I want to bring Issues of Blood back and have it professionally recorded. My big brother, Elder Brian Hicks, just brought his camera and recorded it just so I would be able to see it, because I was actually working behind the scenes. So I got to give a shout out to my little brother, my youngest brother, Ian. Ian, I went to him, and I don't even know why. I think the Lord kind of dealt with me and said, have Ian to be the stage manager. So I went to Ian. I was like, hey, Ian, I want you to be the stage manager for the play. Ian didn't know what a stage manager was. You know what Ian did? He Googled stage manager, wrote everything down, and sure enough, he did a phenomenal job. So I let him run the play, right? And as he ran the play, I was in the back. I was just kind of in the backstage, sending the actors out, doing the little sirens and cueing the actors to go out, right? So Ian did a phenomenal job. There were people who have been in the industry for many, many years who complimented me on Ian and how phenomenal of a job he did as a stage manager. And then when I tell him he had never done it before, when I tell them that, people don't believe it. They don't believe it at all. Right. So it's just amazing. So I'm sorry, I'm pulled up on my other computer. That was Sean Williams who said Detroit is a last minute town. And actually Rose Gates, who is a phenomenal actress, she's done several plays with my wife, LaKenya. She says, we last minute when it comes to supporting our own. Let a production come in town. We get tickets weeks, months in advance. We have to do better, Detroit. Yes, she's right. You know, when Tyler Perry comes, people try to buy their tickets up months in advance to make sure that they got a seat to see Tyler Perry. But you know, when we have one of our own, a Detroit native that does a play, we need to do that same thing. You know, we really do. We do need to do better, and we do need to make sure that we support our own. These are people who could be the next Tyler Perry, and just think, with you helping them out like that, you're contributing to their success. So I agree, Ms. Rose. That is. We do have to do better. All of us do. And I include myself in that as well. You know, I like to, one thing, and then I'll say this, I like to support as many people as I can. I can't support everybody, but I try my best to support as many people as I can. And I'll be honest, you know, the Bible says that we reap what we sow, right? And I did. I really, really did reap what I sowed. People came out and supported Issues of Blood. And it literally blew my mind. Like I said, it was last minute, but they came through. We had out of the 4 shows 2 of the shows were completely sold out. One of them was filled to almost to capacity. The 3 o'clock afternoon show on Saturday was a nice, decent amount, because those are the shows that really don't get as many people, but we actually had a really decent amount there. We did not lose money during the play, so that was another blessing. So I do truly thank God for each and every person who came out and supported. So my plans for Neal Down Productions in the future are definitely, I want to bring Issues of Blood back. And I want to have it professionally recorded, right? I finally finished the second play, Hostage, right? I finished it December of last year, right? And my plan was to put it on this year. Actually, I'm gonna tell you what I did. I went to the Northwest Activity Center. My wife encouraged me, and we put a deposit down last August, not this August. Last August, we put a deposit down to hold the weekend, late October, early November of this year. Now, unfortunately, COVID hit, right? So we're going to be pushing Hostage back till next year, next October, Halloween weekend. That's what we're shooting for. But it is finished being written, and it's a prequel to Issues of Blood. So it deals with an issue that they talked about in Issues of Blood kind of briefly, but it goes into depth into that situation, and it kind of, you'll see some of the characters from Issues of Blood before Issues of Blood coming back and being, you'll see them and how they act and how some of them actually became who they were in Issues of Blood. So that's another thing. I'm adapting a book, from a book to a script with the writer, and I can't give out the information now, but it's a very famous book, and I contacted the writer, and we made an agreement, and he's letting me write his play or change his book to a play. So I'm excited about that. So now this is my goal. So next year, 2021, October, we want to do Hostage. 2022, early, maybe April, the play that I'm adapting. And then October of 2022, there's another play that I'm writing. Have that done. All right. So those are my plans right now. We'll see how it happens and what goes on. So I'm excited. I am. I'm excited. COVID has kind of shut a few things down, but it's also given me a little more time to write and get some things out there. So I'm excited about it. Another one of my main goals for Neal Down Productions is I want to work like a real production company. So in other words, I don't want to just produce my plays. I want to have enough money in our account where I can produce other people's plays. So if you're a writer or a director and you can come to me and we can sit down and meet and talk about it and come up with an agreement, and I'll give you this amount of money and I'll produce your play and you get me back this amount of money or whatever. That's my goal for Neal Down Productions, is to be a real production company where I can help other Detroit natives who are out there. They don't have the money. I didn't have the money to do Issues of Blood, but my church stepped in. Thank God for Apostle Diane Washington, and my mom stepped in and they produced the play. So thank God for that. Now I want to reciprocate that to other people as well. So that's it, y'all. That's my story, as far as acting and when I got into acting and how I got into acting and directing and producing and even singing and writing. So I thank God for you all spending time with me today. I know you all are used to me having guests on the show. There was no guest today. It was just me, right? But I do have some clips from the play. Again, as I said earlier, the play was not professionally recorded. My uncle Elder Brian just set his camera up just to record, just so I could see it, right? Because I actually hadn't seen the play. So it's not professionally recorded. It's not in 4K HD. It was just a camera set up just for me to be able to see the play. And so I want to show these clips here. Let me get them set up. And we had so much fun during the play. So I'm going to kind of set up each one of these scenes here, and they range from 3 to 5. No, none of them are more than 5 minutes long. So don't worry. We'll be off within the next 20 minutes or so. Right. All right. So one thing that you can do as a writer, because you're writing your own, is you can put into your script whatever you want. All right. What are your feelings? What are your thoughts? So me, for instance, I do not believe in abortion. I don't agree with abortion, right? So I wrote that into my script. Now, if you do agree with abortion or you do believe in abortion, then if you write a script, then you can put that in there. So my whole point for saying that is, we have to be careful when we go see plays to know that we're watching something that the writer wrote from their personal heart, from their experience, right? And that's okay. But you don't have to necessarily agree with it or not. But just know that when you go see a play or a movie, that their influence is going to be there because they wrote it. So that's one of the benefits of writing, is you get a chance to write the way you would like to write. So in this scene, we have Miss Stella, who is the mother of the young man who went to prison for 10 years, and another young lady who lives in the neighborhood who she helped raise, named Dominique. And they're just kind of talking a little bit about her having a baby at such a young age. These actresses are played by Dr. Dolores Harris as Stella and Siobhan Wilson as Dominique.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but I was only 15 when I had Ricky. His father wanted to abort him too. And to be honest, I thought about it for a while. I mean, I knew I wasn't ready to raise a child. I wasn't even out of high school yet. But I always remembered what my mother said. She said that the Lord knew us before we were even in the womb. So I said, if God knew this baby that was growing inside of me, what right did I have to end his life? So I told my mother. Girl, by the time she finished beating me, I thought she had ended both our lives. But she did help me with Ricky until I finished high school.
I remember when y'all moved down the street. Helping take care of my grandma. I wanted to go out and play with the other kids so bad.
Why didn't you just play in school?
Play? At school?
Yeah.
Miss Stella, remember, I didn't have anyone to help me with my homework or problems I didn't understand. I had to take the books hard at school, get as much tutoring as I could. I didn't know what recess was till I got to high school. But when y'all moved down the street, and I saw Ricky bringing his toys from the van, his little van, I instantly fell in love. Fell in love with the idea of someone on the block who didn't watch Bonanza or the Golden Girls.
Hey, I remember how you all hit it off instantly. You all were so close. I just wish he would have listened more when he was a teenager like you did. I remember when you had to go down south, stay with your auntie for a whole year when your grandmother passed away. Well, I thought Ricky was going to lose his mind. But losing his friend for a whole year?
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
That was a really rough and confusing time for me, especially being a teenager. I'm not sure I ever really quite recovered from that.
But then you moved back.
Yeah.
But I can imagine your shock when you saw that Ricky had a child of his own. And that he had that baby the same age I had him. Shoot, I was embarrassed when I had Ricky, but I was even more embarrassed when he had little Ricky at the same age. And to add to the embarrassment, nobody knows who the mother is but God and Ricky. He kept it from me so long, I just stopped asking. Now, I always thought it was some little hot-tail girl from the neighborhood. One that wanted the sex and not the responsibility. You feel me? Anyway, whoever it was, he said that she wanted to give that baby up for adoption. And Ricky wanted to raise his son. So I said, okay, God, I'm going to help him just like my mother helped me.
That's just something else to add to your list of accomplishments. You helped your teenage son raise his son. And when Ricky got in trouble, you took little Ricky in and raised him too.
So, you know, I wanted to play that clip because that was a very tender moment in the play for me, you know, because seeing it growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in, a lot of single mothers, a lot of young mothers who stuck with it. They didn't take any easy routes. They stuck with it. They raised their children. And my mother is definitely a testament to that. My mother was 15 when she got pregnant with me. She had me at the age of 16. But she stuck with it, thank God, and helped to raise me into the man that I am today. So that was a very tender moment that I wanted to add in there. Now, another moment in the play that really was significant to me in writing it was the fact that the son, Miss Stella's son, went to prison for 10 years. So he was out of his son's life for 10 years. For 10 years, from the age of 10 to 20, he didn't have a father in his life. And I know in my neighborhood, a lot of fathers were not there, you know, single mothers mostly raising. But thank God that the Lord blessed me with father figures like my godfather, Wayne, and my godfather, Pastor Mike Johnson, my spiritual father, Apostle V.B. Washington, and many, many others. So I do thank God for that. But this clip here is of little Ricky talking about his father, and he's played by Ramon Clora.
Yeah, well, this is the day that your father gets released from prison. And you need to be here helping me get this house ready for the party.
You serious, Grandma? Father?
Yeah.
I ain't seen that man since I was 10 years old. Matter of fact, the last time I saw him, 2 police officers were putting the handcuffs on him and taking him to prison. He ain't been here for me. Derek might just be my older cousin, but he's been more of a father to me than he ever was. We look out for each other. We have each other's backs.
Miss Stella, listen. This is not your fault. Little Ricky is not mad at you. He's just hurting and bitter because his father or mother, well, they weren't there for him.
What about me, though? Maybe I could have done more. I know I made him go to church and all the youth events and everything, but he still just wants to hang with Terry. Now, I know that's my sister's son. But when she passed away, he just lost it. He just became something altogether different. And now he's trying to take little Ricky down that same path. Oh, God, what are we doing? Is this some kind of generational curse on this family?
Miss Stella, every family has issues and problems. But once I heard someone say, God will pull you through if you can stand the pull.
That way I said that.
Let me think. I'm trying to remember who said that. You did. You did the best you could with what you had. You may have had some issues in the past, but you climbed over those mountains. You raised a great young man. Unfortunately, that man made some mistakes of his own. But you hung in there. And you learned how to not climb the mountain, but command the mountain to be removed in Jesus' name.
Man, bringing back so many memories here. It was a lot of fun. Let me tell you how I met Ramon, actually. Henri Franklin, who you're going to see in the next clip, a friend of mine, he recommended him. So I met with him and his mom at Ramshorn. And we were sitting there in Ramshorn, and I was talking to him, telling him what I was expecting of the character. And I said, well, Henri said that you can sing. Can you sing a little something for me? He started singing in the middle of Ramshorn, and the entire restaurant stopped. Everybody looked over and listened to him sing. And when he finished, everybody started clapping. I said, you're my little Ricky. And that was how I brought him in. So that was a great experience. Now, this next clip is, so remember I was talking about the comic relief earlier. So Uncle Rufus, who was played by Henri Franklin brilliantly, he's like he kind of puts you in the mind of Jerome from Martin, Romero. mixed with pretty much any other ignorant character that you can think about in plays. So he has this argument with his Uncle Albert, who was played by Shantez Prince. Now, briefly, let me tell you about this. Now, when I originally wrote the script, Aunt Sissy, who was played by Shantae Roberts, Aunt Sissy had a best friend. It was another lady named Alberta. And she was, her only purpose, her only thing she would do in the play was make snide side comments after somebody would say something. She would make a smart response, but she was Aunt Sissy's best friend. But as I was going through picking my actors or whatnot, I wanted to work with Shantez. He and I had done several plays together. He is hilarious. And I said, who can he play? And I said, oh, maybe I'll change Alberta to Albert. So what I did was I made Aunt Sissy's husband, Uncle Albert, who's played by Shantez Prince. And let's just say it was very, very crazy. Those two characters on stage at the same time it was very difficult for the other actors on stage not to laugh. And I think also you'll see Angela Jackson on stage as well as Shonda. So.
Shut up! Shut up! Close your mouth! Shut your pie hole! We was almost out the door. Just loose it and let us go.
She need to hear this. Sissy, you are a woman of God, and you're supposed to live and walk by faith.
Nasta, don't you come at me like that. Cause we all remember your past.
My past is my past. I'm saved now.
Same folks have a past too. Same folks have issues too.
Woo! Cut it deep right there. Come on, baby. Let's go.
See, that's why we can't move ahead as a family. Always holding on to the past. You know, they always say the worst people to minister to are your family members. Because they just want to hold on to your past. Just hold it over your head, you know. I know I did some terrible, stupid things when I was younger. I mean, I could take it all back if I could. But so did you. Only difference is I don't stay stuck in the past. I mean, I don't hold on to it like you do. Jesus has cleaned me up, and I am forgiven in his eyes. I've taken my past and laid it at his feet, and I use it as a stepping stone to get higher in God's word.
Hey, Stella, I thought for a second I heard your old ugly good for nothing. Oh, hey, Auntie, how are you?
I was doing fine when I seen you. My old wicked nephew Rufus and my loud talking these steps.
Well, I see you brought Lucifer with you. What you done did to her now? Why she mad?
She called herself trying to put me in my place.
And she did.
But that's all right, cause God knows my heart.
I know that's right. God know that old ugly black deceptive heart.
Whose side are you on anyway?
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I thought you come on there. Let's go. Hey, come on, Auntie. Let me go and help you out the door. Hey.
Boy, don't you touch me. Last time you tried to help me, you tried to throw me out to move traffic.
Auntie, that was an accident. I didn't mean to pull your walker, slip my foot up under yours and push. I tripped. Yeah, why would you trip right now? I'm not gonna dance. Let's go to the main street, baby. Come on, Go it. Knock your hair straight. Come on. Go it.
You need all your energy, baby. By the time we go home and tuck me in. Come on, baby.
Where's your oxygen tank at? Don't you stay on my business. You see that right there? That's nasty. And I actually looked at it. I'm so upset I looked at it. There's business about to happen. So you might not never know nothing about it. Oh, that's gross.
So as you can see, I'm sure you all can imagine the rehearsal process. It was rough. It was rough because we were trying to hold our laughs in, and it was hard getting through rehearsals because they were hilarious. Matter of fact, everybody was so perfect in all their roles. So I got three more clips real quick so we can get out of here. But now this next clip, I wanted to make sure I showed this clip because sometimes family members can take out our hurt and pain on other people. So Aunt Sissy is very hurt and upset about what happened to her sister, which happens to be Stella and Rufus's mom, and she takes her anger out on them. And so many times in our families, we have that older family members who have bitterness and anger and hatred in them for someone else, and they end up taking out on their kids sometimes. So definitely want to show this clip.
Let me ask you a question. Why you hate me so much? Oh, Lord, it's going to take a while. I must well sit down.
Cause you a low down dog. I remember the day my sister got mixed up with y'all's daddy. Oh, yeah. He was nice and smooth at first. Then he started drinking real heavy. And after each can, he got worse and worse. That was you, Rufus. I should have known something was wrong when he named you Rufus.
Sound like them catching your feet.
And the drinking just got worse. Then he said he couldn't take care of no kid. Then came your sister Rose. God rest her soul. But then he just got real paranoid. But I guess he just couldn't get enough, because then came you, Stella. Then he got real ignorant and abusive. He treated my sister like garbage. And then one night, when y'all was little kids, he hit her. And I had to go have a little talk.
And ain't nobody seen him since. Where he at? What that got to do with me? I barely even remember that man. I don't remember him.
You ain't got to remember. You are him. Every time I see you, it reminds me of him. You act just like him. You look just like him. And you ain't nothing. Just like him.
Aunt Sissy,
Now here you go.
but you can't hate Rufus just because he reminds you of our father.
Get out of my way.
I wouldn't stand in there again. That's twice.
I can't stand you either. You remind me of my sister. She took that crap from him for years. And what? Maybe if I stay around, he'll change. The only thing that changed was a silent on her head. And to be honest, the only reason why I'm here tonight is because you think your son, Ricky, done changed. But he's just like his granddaddy. And I came by here tonight to make sure you get your wake-up call, Miss Holier Than Thou.
We have to be so careful to not take out our anger and our frustration on our family members. You may be mad because maybe it's your baby daddy. Did you wrong. He left and you acted a fool. Don't take that out on your children. You know, we have to be very careful. So I wanted to make sure that I put that into the play, and then trying to balancing dramatic moments like that and adding a little comedy in was something I was nervous about at first. I was like, no, the serious parts need to all be serious, but I think it adds a little levity to the play, and it makes the characters more relatable. And so I think they did an excellent job of adding the comedy parts in right at the right moment as to not take away from the substance of what was written. So they did a great job there. This next clip, we got two more. Next clip is, okay, so Gerard Brooks played Pastor Anthony Cartwright. Now, Pastor Cartwright is a single pastor, and he likes Stella, but he never wanted to pursue a relationship because at the time he was the new pastor. He didn't want to, try to be hollered at one of his members, and she liked him, but she didn't want to be looked at as trying to push up on the pastor. So they just kind of liked each other from a distance, never said anything. But now time has passed, and he wants to pursue her now. So I'll let this scene kind of speak for itself.
I understand. I get it, And that's why I didn't try to pursue anything. That was a long time ago, man. This is right now. Yeah. Listen. It's been a long time since I felt this way. And I'm hoping this is the last time, girl. I only have one last name. See, everybody's been telling you about me. You ignored it, but I don't want to walk away unless you look me in the eyes and tell me that you feel the same. Listen.
Wow. So I got, and this actually reminded me, I got to give a shout out to my music director, Pastor Chioki Bracy, and my songwriter, Minister Jermaine J. Will Music. I got to give it up to them. J. Will wrote most of the songs for the play. Pastor Chioki wrote a couple of songs for the play, and then we actually used one of Gerard's songs off of his CD for the play as well. So I got to give them a shout out. And real quick, I mentioned this on the episode of Quarantine with Lavell where I had Chioki on the play. Now, this is another thing. So as a director and a producer, you cannot panic when something doesn't go right. So opening night, this is October the 2nd, 2015, opening night. Now, Chioki's wife was pregnant, and she went into labor earlier that day, and she was about to have the baby right before the show opened. So Chioki, who was my music director, he was the drummer and in charge of all the music. He was the one on headsets down in the music pit who was cueing the band and all of the sounds like car horns and all of that stuff. He got a call and he had to leave. It was the most scary thing in the world. It was like, it petrified me, like, oh my God, what's going to happen, you know? But I knew he had to go be with his wife. So he left. The show started at 8. He left at 7 o'clock. He went to the hospital, kissed his wife, kissed his baby, came back, got back at 7:59, and the show started on time. Unbelievable. And I you know, wow. Thank God for him. Like that was true dedication and true friendship. So I truly appreciate him for that. So that was a very scary moment, you know, during that time. But the Bible says that all things, hallelujah, work together. Glory to God. All right, I got one more clip, and this is when Big Ricky, played by comedian Double J, finally comes home, and he's wondering what's going on with his son and why is his son heading down that same road. And he's kind of telling the family a little bit about what he went through in prison. This will be our last clip, and then we'll end the show. So stick with me for 5 more minutes, y'all.
Why is he getting a police escort?
Look, baby, something happened early tonight.
What? That boy got your jeans, that's what.
He's been hanging out with your cousin Derek.
Derek? He's still hanging around here?
Yes, and little Ricky robbed the church tonight.
What?
And Deacon Albert was there and got shot. But he's fine.
My God. Oh.
He's fine, though.
Did Derek have anything to do with this?
We don't know. We have no idea. All we know is he didn't pull the trigger. He won't say it.
I didn't know what to expect when I got out. I was not. This is all my fault.
Doggone right, so I slapped that ball. Hey, I don't think he brought it. He all right? Breathe.
I need to talk. Before I do, there's something I need to tell y'all about me. I need to let y'all know something about myself.
Whoa, wait, look, hold on. Let me, so before you say all of that, just don't. We understand. We get it. We know. Okay? You did what you had to do. You've been locked up for 10 years and the man got these. You survived. And we're proud of you for that. You ain't got to explain yourself. That's why me and Shonda got you this. Come on up here, baby. Show what we got. Celebrate. Yeah.
And the R on the face stands for Rochelle.
Yeah, it's an R on it right there. It stands for Rochelle. It's in there. There it is. Just look here, Rochelle. You always gonna be my niece. Always. I love you. It's gonna be from my niece.
Man, get away from me with that nonsense, man.
So, you know, definitely, shout out to everybody who helped produce the play, and we thank God for it. So this is our anniversary episode, 5 years. Wow, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. And unfortunately, I did procrastinate a little bit with hostage. I could have already had that out, but God does everything. God allows everything to happen rather for a reason. So we're gonna just keep pressing forward, and we're going to get done what needs to be done for the kingdom of God. So thank God for everybody who had anything at all to do with issues of blood in any way, form, or fashion, whether you were in the play, whether you were behind the scenes, whether you bought a ticket, whether you shared the Facebook posts, whatever it is that you did. I truly appreciate you. And I truly appreciate each one of you for always tuning in, always watching the show. Quarantine with Lavell. I appreciate each and every one of you. I truly do. Make sure you tune in next week. We are going, that's October the 8th, next Thursday, 6:30 p.m. We are going to have a wonderful time, as we always do, with the show. So make sure you tune in. We give God the glory. We give God the honor. We give God the praise for this anniversary episode. And I appreciate each one of you for tuning in. Hey, tomorrow will come, and girl, I can't wait. It's our anniversary. Woo! The first thing I'll do is run straight to you. It's our anniversary. Anniversary. Hey. Uh-huh. 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 5 years. Neal Down Productions. Hey.